Welcome to our deep dive into the Odyssey. You know, when you sent in these excerpts, I knew we were in for a treat. This isn't just like some old epic poem,
All
right?
right.
It's a story that's, well, it's captivated audiences for centuries. And today we're going to try and figure out why that is.
Yeah. What's really fascinating is how the Odyssey, it speaks to us, to the human experience,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of, when you live or where you live.
Yeah.
We'll be looking at themes of homecoming, leadership, loyalty, heroism, fate, and even hospitality,
Wow.
all within, the captivating world of ancient Greece.
Okay, I'm intrigued already. So we all know Odysseus, right? He's trying to get back home to Ithaca after the Trojan War. But this journey, as I'm sure you know, is far from a straight shot across the Aegean.
Exactly. And that's where the first layer of depth kind of unfolds. There's
Okay.
the idea of homecoming and identity. Just imagine being Odysseus, yearning for your family, and homeland after years of war and hardship. Yet he's constantly tempted by other paths.
Yeah.
Adventure, glory, even the promise of immortality
Oh, wow.
with the nymph Calypso.
That's a really interesting point, this Calypso's offer of immortality.
Right.
If home is so important to him, why is he even tempted by that? It
Yeah.
makes you wonder, is home just a place?
Yeah.
Or is it like a feeling, a state of being?
Right.
I mean, have you ever felt that, that pull between different paths?
I think the poem gives us a really nuanced answer to that question.
Mm.
We see Odysseus torn between the familiar comforts of home and the allure of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, his journey, it becomes this search for what home really means.
Okay.
Remember when he finally escapes Calypso's island?
Yes.
He tells her, "I long for my house and to see my day of homecoming."
Mm-hmm.
This suggests that home for Odysseus, it represents more than just a physical place. It's a symbol of love, belonging, and ultimately his identity.
That makes me think about how Odysseus, throughout the epic, he's constantly identifying himself, as son of Laertes or king of Ithaca.
Absolutely.
It's as if he's clinging to these titles to remind himself of who he is when he's, so far from everything he knows.
Absolutely. His identity is deeply intertwined with his homeland and family.
Yeah.
That connection is what ultimately drives him to persevere,
Yeah.
even when faced with seemingly impossible obstacles.
Yeah. Speaking of perseverance, it's not just brute strength that gets Odysseus through his trials, right?
Right.
He's incredibly clever, outsmarting foes like the Cyclops Polyphemus.
Oh yeah.
The one he blinds with a burning stake, or resisting the deadly songs of the sirens by, having his crew timed to the mast.
Yeah.
I mean, these aren't just exciting moments in the story. They reveal something deeper about Odysseus as a leader.
Yeah, you're right. It's not just about physical strength with Odysseus.
Yeah.
It's his intellect,
Hmm.
his strategic thinking that really sets him apart.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. In a world ruled by these powerful gods and mythical creatures, his ability to strategize, to use his mind as a weapon,
Yeah.
it's essential for survival.
Yeah.
And it speaks volumes about what the ancient Greeks valued in a leader.
But I also can't help but think about some of the the not so smart moves Odysseus makes,
Yeah.
like opening the bag of winds given to him by Aeolus, the god of the winds.
Yeah.
Talk about impulsive.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if his cleverness is sometimes overshadowed by recklessness.
Right.
Does that contradict his leadership skills?
That's a great point. And it really speaks to how complex Odysseus's character is.
Okay.
He's not a flawless hero.
Mm-hmm.
He's flawed,
Yeah.
prone to temptation,
Mhm.
impulsive actions. And this in turn impacts his leadership.
Yeah.
Remember, he loses his entire crew
Yeah.
because of his decisions.
Right.
And it raises questions about the price of leadership, the burden of responsibility.
Okay, I'm starting to see why the Odyssey is so captivating. It's not just about a hero's adventures. It's about exploring the human condition with all of its contradictions.
Exactly.
We see Odysseus's cleverness, but also his recklessness,
Right.
his longing for home, but also his temptation for adventure.
Yeah.
It makes him relatable, someone we can both admire and question.
Exactly, and that's what makes the Odyssey such a timeless tale. it resonates with us because it reflects our own inner struggles. You know, our own search for meaning and purpose in a world that's often unpredictable and challenging.
Yeah.
But it also reminds us that even when we make mistakes, even when we feel lost, there's always a possibility of finding our way back.
It's it's interesting how we've talked about like Odysseus's flaws and mistakes.
Right.
But we can't forget that he's also incredibly loyal.
Right.
I mean, like despite all the temptations he faces, his love for his wife Penelope and his son Telemachus, it like ultimately guides him home.
Yeah, that's a crucial aspect of the Odyssey. This theme of loyalty and perseverance.
Yeah.
And it's not just Odysseus who embodies these qualities.
Right.
Think about Penelope.
Oh, yeah?
She waits faithfully for Odysseus for like 20 years.
Wow.
Resisting, the advances of numerous suitors who believe that he's dead.
Yeah.
Talk about unwavering commitment.
Yeah, it's easy to overlook Penelope's strength amidst all the excitement of Odysseus's adventures. Right.
But her steadfastness is what allows him to even dream of returning home.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, would Odysseus have even been so determined to return if he hadn't known that, Penelope was waiting for him?
That's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the interconnectedness of their journeys.
Okay.
While Odysseus battles these external forces, Penelope faces her own like internal struggles, maintaining hope and fidelity.
Yeah.
In the face of doubt and despair.
It's true.
And then there's Telemachus, their son, who grows from a boy into a man, determined to find his father and reclaim his family's honor.
It's like their loyalty to each other, it's like it becomes a driving force,
Yeah.
helping them overcome the challenges they face, both individually and as a family.
Precisely. Their loyalty isn't just like a passive feeling.
Right.
It's an active choice they make each day.
A testament to the enduring power of love and family.
Yeah.
And raises an interesting point about like what loyalty really means.
Okay.
Is it is it blind faith?
Yeah.
Standing by someone no matter what? Or is it about making conscious choices even when faced with, these alluring alternatives?
Now that you mention it, like Odysseus' journey is full of these alluring alternatives. He encounters the sirens, those enchanting creatures whose songs lure sailors to their deaths. Then there's Circe, a powerful sorceress who turns men into pigs.
Right.
And let's not forget Calypso, who offers him immortality and eternal youth.
Yes.
Yet, he chooses Penelope and the life they built together.
And that choice speaks volumes about his character, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's not simply driven by duty or obligation.
Right.
There's a genuine love and longing that pulls him back to Ithaca.
It makes those moments when he like almost gives in to temptation even more compelling.
Right.
I mean, if he's so committed to Penelope, like why is he even tempted by these other women?
Because he's human.
Okay.
Just like us.
Yeah.
The Odyssey isn't a story about like a perfect hero.
Right.
It's about a man grappling with his desires, his weaknesses.
Yeah.
And ultimately choosing what he values most.
Okay.
And let's not forget, this is a world, deeply intertwined with the divine.
Right.
The gods play a significant role in Odysseus's journey, both helping and hindering his progress. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, acts as his protector and guide, while Poseidon, the god of the sea, seeks revenge for the blinding of his son Polyphemus.
So it's like a cosmic tug of war with Odysseus caught in the middle. How much control does he actually have over his own destiny?
That's the age-old question, isn't it? Fate versus free will.
Right.
The Odyssey offers like a complex perspective on this.
Okay.
On the one hand, Odysseus is at the mercy of the gods. Their whims and interventions shaping his path.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, he makes choices.
Right.
He acts. He suffers the consequences of his actions.
It's like he's navigating this delicate balance between accepting what's beyond his control.
Yeah.
And and taking responsibility for his own decisions.
Exactly.
It makes you think about like how much of our lives are shaped by external forces versus, our own choices.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And that's a question that still resonates today, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure.
How much of our path is predetermined, and how much is up to us to forge?
Yeah, it's a reminder that even in a world governed by, by fate, our choices, they still matter.
Yeah.
Speaking of choices, one of the things that really really struck me about the Odyssey was this emphasis on hospitality.
Okay.
The ancient Greeks had this concept called xenia, this this sacred duty to welcome strangers and treat them with kindness.
That's a great observation.
No.
Xenia wasn't just a social custom.
Right.
It was a deeply ingrained moral code. It was it was believed that Zeus, the king of the gods, protected travelers and guests.
Right.
So, neglecting the laws of hospitality could have dire consequences.
And we see this play out throughout the Odyssey, right?
Yeah.
Like how the Phaeacians who treat Odysseus with kindness and generosity are rewarded, while the Cyclops, who violates the laws of hospitality, faces divine retribution.
Exactly. Those encounters aren't just side stories.
Right.
They highlight the importance of compassion and the interconnectedness of humanity. By extending kindness to strangers.
Yeah.
We're not just like fulfilling some social obligation. We're participating in a larger moral framework.
It makes you wonder how our modern society measures up in terms of, hospitality. Yeah. Do we extend the same kindness to strangers? Do we recognize the importance of welcoming those in need?
Yeah.
It's like a mirror,
right,
reflecting our own values and behaviors.
You're right. It challenges us to examine our own actions and consider how we treat those who are different from us, those who come to us seeking help or refuge.
On that note, we've talked a lot about Odysseus's, triumphs and his clever escapes.
Right.
But there's also a deep sense of sadness that kind of like permeates his journey, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Odyssey is it's a bittersweet tale.
Yeah.
Even though Odysseus achieves his ultimate goal of returning home,
right,
it comes at a great cost. He loses all of his companions.
Right.
He faces violence and betrayal upon his return.
Wow.
And he realizes that even Ithaca has changed in his absence.
Yeah.
It's not the joyful homecoming he might have envisioned.
That's a really good point. It's
Yeah.
like even in victory, there's this undercurrent of like loss and disillusionment.
Right.
It reminds us that life is rarely simple or straightforward, and that even the greatest heroes, like, they bear scars from their journeys.
And it's in those scars, in those moments of vulnerability that
Right.
we truly connect with Odysseus as a human being.
Yeah.
We see him not just as a legendary warrior,
Right.
but as a man who has suffered, who has lost,
Yeah.
and who is ultimately trying to find his place in a world that no longer feels quite the same.
It's a reminder that homecoming is not just about returning to a physical place,
Right.
but also about reconciling with who we have become in the process.
Exactly, and that reconciliation can be a difficult, even painful process.
Right.
But it's also a necessary part of the human experience.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
Homecoming, leadership, loyalty, fate, hospitality, even the bittersweet nature of Odysseus's return.
We have.
But before we wrap things up, I want to circle back to something we touched upon earlier.
Yeah.
The theme of heroism.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
The question of what truly makes a hero.
Right.
The Odyssey provides a fascinating and dare I say unconventional perspective on this.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more. I think we tend to think of heroes as these larger than life figures,
right,
flawless and invincible.
Yeah.
But the Odyssey, it paints a different picture of Odysseus.
Absolutely. The Odyssey challenges those traditional notions of heroism.
Okay.
Odysseus, as we've discussed, he isn't perfect.
Right.
He's cunning, resourceful, and brave.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he's also prone to vanity, recklessness, and sometimes even makes questionable choices driven by his own desires.
We already talked about him opening that bag of winds.
Right, right.
What about like when he taunts Polyphemus after blinding him?
Yeah.
That just seems like a bit reckless even for Odysseus.
Yeah, remember how Poseidon punishes him for that arrogance,
yeah.
making his journey back to Ithaca even more treacherous?
Right.
That episode highlights how Odysseus's flaws can lead to dire consequences.
Yeah.
And this is crucial.
Okay.
It doesn't negate his heroic quality.
So it's not about being perfect then.
Exactly. The Odyssey suggests that true heroism lies in resilience, in the ability to learn from mistakes,
right,
and to keep striving towards one's goals despite setbacks and temptations.
Yeah.
Odysseus, despite his flaws, never gives up. He faces his challenges head on.
Yeah.
Adapts to ever-changing circumstances, and ultimately finds his way home.
It's like his journey is a testament to the human spirit's capacity for endurance and growth, isn't it? It makes you wonder, what is this like? Tell us about heroism in our own lives. I mean, we're not facing Cyclops and sirens,
right,
but we all have our own battles to fight.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Perhaps heroism in the modern world, isn't about these grand feats of strength or slaying these mythical beasts.
Right.
Maybe it's about facing our everyday challenges with courage, integrity, and a willingness to keep learning and growing.
Right.
Think about the challenges you face in your own life.
Yeah.
It could be, overcoming a personal obstacle, standing up for what you believe in,
right,
or simply being kind in a world that can often, feel indifferent.
I'm getting the sense that the Odyssey, it's not just a story to entertain us.
Right.
It's a story that invites us to reflect on our own lives, our own values. Right. It's like a mirror, reflecting back our own struggles, aspirations, and potential for both greatness and weakness.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
The Odyssey, it provides a framework for understanding the human experience with all its complexities and contradictions.
Right.
And it reminds us that even in a world where fate and the gods play a role, we still have the power to choose our own paths, to learn from our mistakes,
right,
and to strive for a meaningful life.
So as we reach the end of our deep dive into the Odyssey,
I
want to leave you, our listener, with this final thought.
Okay.
If you were to embark on a modern-day Odyssey, what challenges might you face? What internal sirens would you need to resist?
Yeah.
And ultimately, what would homecoming mean to you at the end of your journey?
I think that's a wonderful question to ponder.
Yeah.
We all have our own Ithacas to return to,
right?
Our own sense of home and belonging to discover, and the journey with all its twists and turns is ultimately what shapes us and defines who we become.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Odyssey.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to unpack this timeless epic with you.
And remember, the conversation doesn't end here.
Yeah.
The Odyssey is a story that continues to resonate through the ages, offering insights and inspiration for anyone willing to embark on their own journey of self-discovery.